Hello everybody, TDM Tim here, and welcome back to day 3 of the itch.io weekly game jam 31. Now, I've been hard at work today with the little amount of time I had on getting the game design to a better suited state, to a better understood state, and I have those documents prepared. In a couple minutes we'll get to those and I'll explain the documents. As well, I haven't gotten started on video game development today yet, and I won't get much done with how late it is already. Today was my busiest day for getting work done and making sure I have enough money to pay the bills, as we all have to do. But tomorrow is my day off, and so tomorrow, hopefully a lot will be accomplished. I still have the ambition to attempt the larger game idea that I have, and as I said in the previous devlog, what I program for the larger game idea should somewhat correlate and be able to quickly translate over to the first game idea. And as well, I will test out a lot of the bugs that would apply to that game idea just by attempting the second game idea. I have very little confidence, honestly, in myself to get the second game idea done in the amount of time I have, because it has a lot to do with things that I have not done yet, which is always just a variable on how long that will take. But why don't we go ahead and read through these game designs, see what I can get done today, and I'll meet you in a couple seconds. So, as you can see here, before you is my extremely professional game design document. Now, before we get to the design, let me just state that if anybody is looking for me to do this for their game, you know where to call me. But let's get on to the first game idea. This game, you will be playing as a dog, as the playable character section states, and your main objective is to eat food that is good for you, so not rotten food or bad food for a dog to eat, to prevent your food bar from falling too low. So the game concepts: 1, you have a food bar that slowly falls lower and lower because you need more food to eat. Eating healthy food raises the food bar. Eating bad/rotten food causes your food bar to fall lower than just not eating. I haven't decided whether or not I will have food that is just bad for a dog to eat. That might be punishment a bit to gamers that do not know what a dog can or can't eat. Might be educational in a way, but maybe not enjoyable. Either way, eating food as well takes time. Eating any type of food, good or rotten, will give you action points. So there is a reason to eat rotten food. You have an AP bar that will be used to attack, which is the action points. So for you to attack, and I'll explain why you need to attack in a second, you may have to eat some rotten food, but preferably non-rotten food. Food falls from the sky in an open field. As good food sits on the ground, the food itself will slowly start to rot. Good food that rots will slowly increase your food bar less till it fully rots. So, slightly rotten food will still increase your food bar, not decrease it, but once it hits a certain point, it will decrease. And there will be a visual aspect to determine when that is. Now, enemy dogs, so there will be other dogs, will randomly spawn after a certain point. I think I'll give the player enough time to figure out the basic mechanics of going up and just eating food and what food not to eat and so forth. Then an enemy dog will spawn. Enemy dogs will have a food bar and an AP bar as well, and they will have some form of AI that will determine how they decide what food to eat and what attacks to use and when to attack. Enemy dogs will not attack unless first attack, so they're docile at first. At which point you decide to attack a dog, it will remember and become aggressive in the future. And the whole point of the game, the score you will have, will be based on a mixture of good to rotten food you've eaten, how many dogs you've killed, and how long you have survived. So it gives a reason to eat rotten food because you'll need AP no matter what, and with enemy dogs moving about and eating food as well, means that you might not always get the good food that spawns, so you might have to eat some rotten food to have the action points to kill a dog so that you can get the good food. I also probably will put into the game another mechanic I haven't written down here yet, that upon killing a dog, you will get some food, some meat from that. Now, there may also be time for me to add an aspect to where maybe a dog will get mangy to the point that you would eat it and it would be rotten food, which might be a disappointment, but you might still have to kill the dog to be able to survive and keep eating the food that spawns. Now, that's the first game idea. It's a little more simplistic than what I want to do, but that is mainly what do I have to do if I have to scrap the more ambitious game idea right here. Still play a dog. The main objective is a little different. Attempt to survive in the wild, competing with other animals as you try to carve out a little home for you and those dogs that join you. Now, you will also have a food bar that slowly falls lower and lower, but you also have a water bar that slowly falls lower and lower. You will also have a health bar, which represents your current health. And speaking on the first game idea real quick, I haven't determined whether or not I'd want a health bar or if attacks would just do damage to your food bar, and when it hits 0, you die. But as I was saying, for the second game idea, you have a health bar which represents your current health. It does not fall without taking damage or getting sick. Eating healthy food raises the food bar. Drinking clean water raises the water bar. Eating bad/rotten food raises your food bar less than healthy food, but has a chance of getting you sick, which causes your food bar and health bar to fall and decreases your AP, your action points. So, in this one, bad rotten food will not decrease your food bar, but it will give you significantly less, and you may get sick. And the concept of being sick is that your food bar will drain quickly, and your health bar will as well drain, and your action points will decrease from where they are currently. And I will have to add some sort of mechanic by which you could heal yourself, maybe a resting mechanic of some sorts, or eat enough healthy food and rest for a while. I'll get to that once I get there, and definitely I will be updating these documents and showing you the changes. So as I was saying, drinking bad water raises your water bar less than clean water, so the same as bad food, but has a chance of getting you sick as well. Eating food/drinking water takes time, so you can't just immediately eat the food. Eating any type of food, good or rotten, will give you action points. You have an AP bar that will be used to attack. You as well have a range of attacks that use various amounts of APs. The world is a procedurally generated forest, and that was the trees that you saw me trying to generate earlier. A small mixture of animals and foliage will spawn at the start of the game. Depending on the health of regions of the forest, different animals will spawn within them. And the health of regions will be determined by the amount of foliage in the region and blah. But I think it will be a system by which once a region is a certain amount of health, it will then just spawn more animals. It will spawn this, that, and the other. I also may want to have a breeding system, but that is a concept that I would not be able to tweak in a couple of days at all. Food can be found from foliage or from killing animals. As good food sits on the ground, it will slowly rot. Good food that rots will slowly increase your food bar less till it fully rots. Animals will have a food bar, water bar, health bar, and an AP bar as well. Docile animals will not attack unless first attacked, so that'd be like rabbits and such. Docile animals will run from you if they spot you. Now, I also don't think I'll have rabbits attacking you. I think only certain docile animals will attack once they have been attacked, and rabbits would probably just run further. Aggressive animals will attack if you get too close, so that'd be other wild dogs and such. At which point you decide to attack an animal, it will remember and become more aggressive or scared in the future. So that would be the docile animals that would be scared, and the aggressive animals that would become more aggressive. The score you have will be based on a mixture of good to rotten food, blah 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 blah, because that has not been updated because I have no idea how or if I would even score this separate game idea. So as you can see, Game Idea 2 has a lot more concepts, a lot more detail to it, and is possibly and most likely outside of my range of ability for this week. But I'm going to work on it, as I've said, and probably somewhere around Tuesday determine whether or not I'm going to just polish Game Idea 1 with the code that I have, or try to plow forward and meet the deadline. Either way, let's get to a little bit of development today, and we'll see. So I've done a little bit of coding work. I wasn't able to get through everything I wanted to tonight, but tomorrow is my day off, and the most important thing I've done is made a list of things to do tomorrow. So let me demonstrate first what I have done. Here, you can see I have a camera that follows the player, and the representation of what the player will eventually be, can move. The issue now being is the movement is not as smooth as I would like it to be. As well, at the same time, I have fixed, and we'll keep this from maximizing, I have fixed some of the spawning issues. As you can see here, I cannot find a single pair of trees that spawn together in a clump. Now, I don't mean that there aren't trees that are close together. That's not what I wanted to avoid, but I wanted to avoid lines of trees, which I think I have done. If we spawn it a couple more times, yep, perfect. Try it one more time just to make sure I'm not talking out my ass. Yep. Now the real issue here is that there's a dead zone in like these 3 blocks right over here that trees will not spawn in at all. And I'm gonna have to figure out how to work around that. My current code will not possibly do that without throwing an error of index out of range. But I'm sure with some tweaking and some reworking, I could get that. Once again, I'd like to thank all of you for supporting me, for watching and liking and subscribing. And if you haven't, please do. Check out Techadelic Minds, where I'll be posting these devlogs, the postmortem at the end. And tomorrow, I will be posting the first episode of my Let's Play of Deus Ex. Thank you all and have a great night.